Hello everyone, my name is George. I'm a security analyst here at Yale Bridges, and today I'd like to welcome you to our YouTube page. Yale Bridges is a cybersecurity company based in Thika, Kenya, and we offer services in the cybersecurity space. We do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. We also do digital forensics and incident response. We also offer security as a managed service to organizations that may not have the capacity to have a full-blown security operations center. We also offer cybersecurity awareness training to staff, and we also offer cyber insurance. Apart from that, we are also ISO 27001 certified, meaning that for all the services that we offer, we are audited to ensure that we keep up with the recommended industry standards. I'd highly encourage you to head over to our website, that is www.yalebridges.co.ke, to have a complete list of the services that we offer, the products that we offer, and also the clients that we've worked with before. I'd also highly encourage you to consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to this YouTube page for more of this content. So today we're going to be looking at how we can share files on our local computer and share those with a container, with a service that's running in a container. So case in point, we are going to be sharing, let's say we have our website that we've hosted the files on our local machine, but now we do not want to install the web server service. So let's say Apache, Nginx, or even Tomcat. We do not want to install the web server service on our machine, but you want to run it. You want to run the files on an isolated environment, that is the container, right? And before we go ahead, I'd like us to do just a little bit of recap. So last time we learned how to install Docker on our machine. We also learned the differences between a container and an image. And so we said that when you install Docker, or when we run Docker on our machine, basically what we're doing is that we are doing two things. We are talking to the Docker engine, that is the Docker service or the Docker daemon, and you're also using the Docker client to talk to the engine, right? So for instance, if we say Docker, let's just try that out, right? So let's say, for instance, we have let's say I want to run a container, right? So I'm going to say Docker run hello world. So I'm using this because it's really lightweight and pretty much occupies very little space. So I'm going to, let's say we are running this container, and we do not have to have this container on our machine. We do not have to have this on our machine, installed on the machine. So we're going to just press enter, input our password, see what it's going to bring. So we have this image that is pulled from our local computer. But what we do, or what happens when you run this, command. So basically, this is like, take this as the client. When you run this Docker run, so this is the client. Basically, we're talking to the Docker daemon, or the Docker service engine on the back end, and we're telling the Docker engine, right? Could you please run this container for us? And so the engine, what the engine does is that it searches for the container hello world locally, right? It searches for it locally. If the container is available locally, it's going to run. If it's not available locally, what it does is that it's going to go to the Docker repository hub, pull that image, and then run it as a container, right? So that's basically how the Docker engine works. Right. We also looked at a difference between an image Docker engine and a Docker container, and you can say you need to be sudo to do that. Yes. So we said if you want to look at how many the containers that are running, we could do sudo docker ps. If we want to have a look at the containers that you're running, we could do sudo docker imageless, and we can have a look at all the images that we have that we've pulled from the Docker repository, right? So all these are what we've pulled from the Docker repository. And then if you want to run let's say we want to run a container, we basically just will basically just run the container based off of this image, right? So we said that an image is a template. An image is a template of all the dependencies of a service, and then a container is the running instance of an image, right? That's what we did last time. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit more, advancing our knowledge in Docker, right? Slowly by slowly. So today we're going to be hosting a website. We're going to have the files. We know our website usually contains the index.html. It contains the Java files. It contains a few more files, maybe the CSS, maybe TV can even contain the database. But we're not going to go only, but just going to host a simple website. But now we do not want to have a web server on our local machine, right? We want to, for security purposes, we want to run the web server inside a container. We want to have it isolated in a sandbox environment, right? So that's what we are going to be doing, and it's really simple, it's really fun, and we're going to see how that turns out. So first things first, what we're going to do is that we're going to create the directory, that is going to host the files of our website. So I'm going to just write make dir, let's call it our website. You can call it dir our website, and then cd into it, and then let's make a file. Let's make the HTML file, the HTML directory, sorry. So HTML directory, and then inside the HTML directory, we want to write the index.html file, right? So I'm going to do nano index.html. It's going to be a really simple website, just the normal HTML file. We're going to give it let's give him a heading 1 and say welcome to our site, welcome to our website, and then close that tag, and then close the HTML tag, right? Close the HTML tag right like that. Okay, going to control going to control save, and then exit out of that. Okay, now that we have our website files, we have our website files in this directory. The next thing that you want to do is that you want to run Docker now, and what we're going to be doing is that we want to map where our website files are stored locally and map those to the Nginx website folder, right? So to do that, we're going to do sudo docker run volume. Already had this, but let me just we're going to have an edit of this, and I'm going to explain whatever this command does, right? So basically what we're doing is that you're mapping. Basically what we're doing is that you're mapping our local our files that are stored on our local computer, which is home black website. I'm going to change this, and you're mapping that against Nginx, where Nginx stores its website files, right? Which is in a user share Nginx HTML, and this tag stands for read only, right? And then what we're doing is that we're giving it ports. So we're mapping our internal port of our local machine, port 8080, to the Nginx's port, which is port 80, right? And then we're telling Docker run in detached mode, right? So -d stands for detached mode, and what that means is that basically run in the background, right? So free up our terminal so that we can be able to do something else. And lastly, we are giving it our image, our container, not our image, our container name, right? So giving it the Nginx, right? And so that's what it means. So I'm going to do a little bit of an edit over here, and I'm going to give it we gave it our website, right? Our website, right? So alternatively, what we can do, we have a typo, small typo over here. Alternative, what we can do is that we can remove this and give it a capital P. And what this is going to do, what this does is that it's going to tell Docker to specify a random port for a container, right? But we do not want that. We want to specifically give it a specific port that we can be able to access, 8080, that we can be able to access once we go to the browser, right? So we're going to give it port 8080 internally and port 8080 and port 80 on the browser, that is the Nginx's port 80, right? So we always, when you're running, when you're mapping local files to a container, what we do usually start with the local files, right? So over here we started with our local files, which is home slash black slash our website, and then we gave it we mapped that to Nginx's Nginx's directory, right? And before we do that, let me just come over here, and I want to print pwd, see where we are, website ls. So we have two files. Okay, let me head into cdhtml, see what we have over there. Okay, we did not copy the index.html inside the index.html file inside HTML, but we can do that. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to, you know what, we could just remove the HTML folder, just run it inside our website, right? So let me just go back. Yes. Okay. So we have HTML, so I'm going to just remove HTML. HTML is a directory, so I'm going to do rm rf HTML. Okay, so now we only have index.html, right? So right, so this is our directory, right? This is the directory that we have, and it is the one that we've mapped over here. Okay, now that we have these, what we can do is just run our container, right? And we're given an ID for that container, and with that we can go to our browser and see if we can be able to locate that, if we can be able to successfully have access to our website files. Okay, so we are going to be accessing the website on localhost, and this is the port that we want to access, right? Localhost port 8080. Map it and see. So we have so we've loaded a file. So we can still go back, and have some changes to it, make some changes to it. Index.html, and unfortunately I didn't run as sudo, so let me get out of it. I'm going to go sudo nano index.html, and we could add another we could run something else, something beside it. So let's do h2. It runs successfully, and then we can save that and exit out of that. And when we go back to our website and refresh it, we get it run successfully. So just to recap, or just to wrap everything up, so what we've done is that we've hosted files on our local machine, on our local computer, but we did not install a web server, right? So we have the local files, we have the index.html, we have the JavaScript files, we have the CSS files, we have all the images, everything that would be required to run our website. And then what we've done is that we've mapped our files, the directory where our files are stored, to where Nginxes would host website files, right? So this is our local file over here, and this is the Nginxes directory for the website, right? So a few pointers, maybe a few places that might trip you up, or a few places that might maybe give you a little bit of hiccups here and there, is that you have to map the whole path. So for instance, you see we are in this folder, right? We are in our website, right? So you might be tempted to do this. Sudo docker run, and then you'd say that since I'm in our website, that should be no. Yeah, you might be tempted to do this. So you might be tempted to say, since I'm in the website folder and our files are stored over here, I'm just going to give it a maybe index.html, and then I map it to Nginxes, right? Share Nginx HTML, read only, and then maybe this time we could just tell Docker to run, to specify the port itself, right? So you might be tempted to do this, and if you do this, you're going to get an error first of all, right? So because it's telling us that it requires at least one argument, right? So, and I believe that is coming from over here, right? But all in all, you're going to get an error if you run it, if you run it without giving it the whole path right from the root, right? So you have to give it the whole path from the root, and the best way to do that is just do pwd, which is going to tell you, it's going to give you the whole path of where we are based at, and we can have that and map that to Nginxes. So I hope this has been informative. Thank you so much for making to the end of this video. If you found it informative, please like, a share, or even commenting down below on what you'd like us to do next. If you'd like any of the services that we earlier mentioned, you could give us a call on 0703 412 771, or you could write to us through our office email, that is office@yalbridges.com, or if you're ever in town, you could visit us. We are based at T Plaza, that is in 4th floor. Until next time, have a good one.